So I've been reading about Jensen Huang and Elon because they've got such unusual CEO styles that completely fly in the face of everything that any CEO coach or anything you read about being a CEO will teach you. And one thing Jensen Huang's really got a very different playbook. He's the CEO of NVIDIA. One of the things he does is he criticizes in public. Okay, so he's got his team, he's got 40 direct reports, which is pretty weird, or 50 direct reports. And if somebody says something he disagrees with or does something that he didn't like, he will, in front of everyone, I think he does it in a very nice way, but admonish them or criticize them or give them feedback so everyone can hear it. And I remember back in the day getting feedback that I used to do that. People really did not like it. And I probably didn't deliver it as diplomatically as Jensen does. And that has popped into my mind, and I sort of fix that. I always try to give kind of negative feedback in private and public praise in public. But I wonder about that. I think Jensen might be onto something on that. I think I could have delivered it more diplomatically, but that was one I was thinking about as I was thinking about this interview that I wonder about.
Brian, help me. I'm a young CEO. I am incredibly direct. Me and you sit down. I say, Brian, listen, let's be honest. That was shit. You need to improve on this, this, and this. And please don't do that again. And people find me too direct and too harsh, if we're honest.
I was the same. I got more one of the things I worked on was getting more diplomatic over time. And the other thing that I didn't realize is how much, Harry, people really listen to everything you say. Yeah, so you emerge as the founder with the company. Everything you say, people pretend like they don't listen and they push back at you, but they remember what you say. You'll run into somebody you'd be walking down Newbury Street in Boston and bump into an employee, and you'll have coffee with them. And they'll say something. Remember when you said this 4 years ago at a company meeting? No, I don't remember that at all. So people really, really listen and over-index on what you say. And so I do think getting better and more diplomatic over time did help me and help the company.
Can I ask, you said there about the control freakedness.
Yes.
I get you, but I quite like sweating the detail. And I think some of the best founders do sweat the details. You mentioned Elon. When you think about Elon and his mind, I don't know if you listened to the Walter Isaacson work that he did, but he said one of the most special things about him is like the detail orientation he applies to systems, machinery, systems thinking. And I'm like, I think Elon sweats the details, and I think some of the best do. How do you balance sweating the details but not being too control freakish?
I'm not an expert on this, but I think, okay, I will tell you the one thing I learned from Elon. So Sequoia has an annual, I call it a glamping event. And Dharmesh and I would describe us as indoorsy, not outdoorsy. And so they invited us to the glamping event. And we were like, we debated it. Like, should we go? It's a fucking glamping event, but great speakers. It's going to be really good. So we went. And I'll tell you a funny story about it. But it's the first glamping event. We went. And the first night, Harry, was freezing cold. And it was freezing. And we're in tents. And I'm like, God, why did I come here? And my tent mate was John Collison from Stripe. And I just remember I was so darn cold that night. I was tempted to be like, hey, John, should we just cozy up here so we don't freeze to death tonight? I fortunately resisted that temptation, but I've never been as cold.